All right, thank you everyone for joining. We want to update you on what progress has been made by Rational Roads for Johns Island on another alternative for the county, proposed alternatives for the main road segment C, Bohicket and River included in that. Thanks to generous donations from many of you, Rational Roads has been able to hire two well-regarded and 21st century thinking data-driven consulting engineers, Norm Marshall and Rick Hall. With the data collected from the county concerning fatalities, congestion, and collisions, as well as the voice of our community, over 1,000 Rational Roads surveys completed. We are excited to share that Alternative 6 is positioned to be the best option fiscally, environmentally, and also address the main concern for safety. During the spring and summer, member of our Rational Roads Steering Committee, plus Norm Marshall and Rick Hall, have met with County Council members Anna Johnson, Jenny Honeycutt, Kylon Middleton, and Dickie Schweers. We've met with City Council members Carl Brady and Carol Jackson, and also county staff. We've met with the Kiowa Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Town Planner. And we have a scheduled meeting in early September with Charleston Mayor and Charleston City Planners. We are also in the process of scheduling meetings with additional County Council members and follow-up meetings with county staff to review data and alternatives. As you all know, we need to improve our roads on Johns Island for safety and to relieve congestion, but we must do it in a way that considers the context of this rural sea island. We are making progress on this approach with multiple leaders across multiple municipalities, but we still have much work to do. In many ways, this work requires a paradigm shift in the way we approach road building. We need to move away from the 20th century approach of monolithic expressways, the quickest point from A to B, huge expensive projects that rarely consider the context of a place or the livability of a community. Thankfully, the engineering world is advancing in this direction of 21st century planning, how to develop roads for future needs and capacity while also improving the current livability of a community, urban or rural, in the context of what makes that place so special. Rick Hall is a leader in this field of context-based design, how we can move people and cars safely and efficiently while also actually making our communities better and more livable. Rick is no stranger to the Charleston area and the complex road issues we have here, from Mount Pleasant to Johns Island. Rick has previously worked right here on Johns Island. He designed the pitchfork plan at River and Maybank. He has been integral to Rational Roads as we work on a comprehensive review of Johns Island roads. And for this particular project, how Main Road Corridor Segment C could be developed in a way that is in line with the community's needs and the county's objectives. Thank you for joining us, and I will turn it over to you, Rick.
Thank you, Kate, very much. It's a pleasure to work on a beautiful place like Johns Island and to help make it a better transportation experience without destroying the value in its quaintness and its traditional streets that you treasure so much. So how did this all get started? Rational Roads was formed in November of 2020 because of concerns about what the county was doing with Main Road Corridor C. And they have 5 alternatives and none of them which were satisfactory to the group that came together as Rational Roads. There was not much community input by the county, but Rational Roads did ramp up the citizen participation, which is so vital to getting the vision correct. And we've been tinkering with some of the assumptions. We've been asking the county to show us the numbers, and they did. They showed us a good number of analysis numbers and counts that they had taken, and we don't much like their numbers. They're over predicting traffic to the year 2045. So that's what we're in the middle of doing. They have alternatives 1 through 5. We have alternative 6. This is like a hurricane map, you know, all of the potential lines where this thing could do damage as it goes through. So alternate 1 through 5. 1, I think, is their main focus, that pinkish color, where it goes along Bohicket and sticks pretty much to the northwest area. The other ones are just even more ludicrous, because that would involve 4 laning through the middle of the island, or river road, or plow ground, or so those alternatives really are just there to give more alternatives on the map. They're really after number 1, I believe. Their approach is let's figure what roads we need, and then whatever the community and the environment can stand, that's so be it, and there's no sense of getting a network of streets that will disperse traffic in a more fine-grained level. So it's not just a major arterial 4-lane cutting through. They almost had a solution before they understood the problem of what mobility meant on the Johns Island. They had a limited scope. They stopped short of the critical high school and elementary school north of what we're calling Angel Oak Village, the intersection of the major highways at the end of Baybank Highway. Their alternatives have impact a lot of homes. They're inconsistent with the county's Maybank overlay plan that the city worked so hard on. And so there are a number of key issues. One of the ones that is a main focus of mine is this place called Dead Man's Curve, where Maine goes by Marianne Point, and there it's impactful to read the crash statistics that have occurred on that section of road. So we want to help fix that. These are where the crash records are, and the one I was just talking about is on the right side, where the fatalities have been very severe. There are 5 or 6 fatalities over the 10-year period at that spot that is blue and red and yellow. That's the highest point. Even general collisions are not out on the so much on the main 2-lane stretch as the link goes through the island. It's at the intersections where these 2-lane roads meet. So logically, you want to make sure that motor vehicles come to those intersections at a reasonable speed, because speed is the number 1 issue with crashes and fatalities. Our approach is to especially at Maybank and Bohicket and Maine, in the middle of what we call Angel Oak Village. That's our new name we're promoting. Instead of having these major highways shown in green, that is what the county is proposing. When you get to the intersections, they become 4, 5, and 6 lanes wide. How are you going to cross that as a challenged pedestrian? So our idea is to keep those as narrow as possible and introduce roundabouts. Now, some people are thinking roundabouts are not pedestrian friendly because the traffic never stops. Well, the traffic does stop when you're able to go slowly enough in your vehicle and you see pedestrians waiting. Then most drivers will stop for pedestrians at a small scale roundabout. So we want to get the pedestrian and wheelchair and bicycle access up all along these networks, but especially in the village sections. Even the county's report doesn't show a lot of congestion south of Edenvale Road. see all the green that is showing up on the map. That is a good non-congested condition. And it's only north of there on Bohicket as it goes through and meets Maybank. That's where the congestion begins to increase. We took some surveys, and most of the people that are responding to the surveys are saying that we should include all of Maine and Bohicket, from River all the way down to Betsy, Kerrison, where it's already 4-lane. Interesting point while I'm on Betsy, Kerrison, the 4-lane option that they're proposing for many of these 1 through 5 alternatives, where they have a canopy road, they want to jump the canopy and add 2 more lanes. Sounds pretty simple. Problem is, it speeds the traffic up. And we've continued to see fatalities occur on the Betsy Kerrison 4-lane, even though it's built to more up-to-date standards than the 2 lanes that are crossing the rest of the island. So their 4-laning does not give improved safety. So we've got some street network improvements that make a connection between the existing 2 lanes to allow you to avoid the intersection crossings where the congestion does occur. So there is a funding issue where $85 million is available from the gas tax, the sales tax initiative. And there's some, we think, incorrect thinking that the county should spend all of that on 4-lane major facilities. That is, there's nothing in the passage of that tax that said you must do a 4-lane road. So we're proposing a context-based design that fits better into the rural and traditional context that is on Giants Island, the one that's so much appreciated by everybody. Our proposed projects improve safety. They accommodate increases in volumes. Once we tamp down on some of their more exotic projections, we're going to be able to keep the traffic moving, primarily by doing some left turn lane pockets. So if you're at a T intersection and someone wants to turn left, that's not the only lane that is there at the intersection for the travelers to use. There's a way to get around that vehicle with the left turn signal on. So that'll keep people moving at some of the T intersections and plus intersections. And then again, roundabouts. My favorite saying about roundabouts is they slow you down and speed you up all at the same time. Meaning they slow you down from your high speeds of 50, 60 miles an hour. And then because you can't run a roundabout, you can't go through the middle and survive. But they speed you up because at the low speeds where you have a traffic signal with a red phase or a stop sign, you have to stop and look both ways, take all that time. Or if it's a red, you have to just wait till the signal says you can go, even though there may not be anybody coming. So the roundabout, you just come up to it and get a yield, and you go right into it as soon as there's space available in the roundabout. So that speeds you up on the low speed, slows you down on the high speed. So safety, safety, safety. We looked at 8 different specific sections of this corridor. And we have developed recommendations for each one of them. And that's our refined alternative 6, is the collection of traffic improvements and new road sections that go all the way through from the north to the south from 1 to 8. Looking at one, we have these yellow spots where we might introduce some new left turn lanes to allow the through traffic to get around a left turn and prevent some accidents. We have a section 2 that's been called Dead Man's Curve. It's a high fatality area. We proposed a roundabout. For the reasons I was just explaining, it slows people down. I think drivers get a little sleepy or lazy after a long stretch. And if they know there's a roundabout coming, then they will know they better slow down, and it'll keep their pace a little bit more reasonable, responsible. There's a Sea Island Preserve, almost 400 homes going in on the inside of that curve. And we propose that the roundabout be connected directly to their main entrance onto Main Road. So that'll introduce additional safety for those particular areas. At another section 3, this is where the high school and the middle school are. We propose a roundabout there where those old oak trees are just so close to the intersection now that it's not that safe. And then an additional 2-lane road, the dashed line that goes up on the upper part, is a way to create more networks so somebody doesn't have to go all the way down to Brownswood and Maine, and they can go the back way, so to speak, and get to the schools or whatever destination they have. When we get down into the center of the village where Maine, Maybank, and Bohicket come together, we're proposing more of those 2-lane connectors to allow you, as you're coming north on Bohicket, to peel off and go across to Maybank, maybe go to a shop there, or go up and visit someone who is north of Maybank Highway without going through the central critical intersection that is where all the congestion is occurring today. Roundabouts solve this kind of congestion problem, and additional networks and bike pedestrian paths. This whole area needs a fine-grained study to make sure anybody on a bicycle, on their feet, or on a wheelchair can get from point A to point B throughout that area. And there are modern studies and solutions for how to do that. So I've covered these, the connector roads, the roundabout, bike bed paths. There's some intense focus needs to be put there. This is a great way to spend a portion of the $83 million. South of the Angel Oak area, we've got some potential turn lanes that we could put in there, but mainly other things that we can do to increase the connectivity with other street connections and make sure the speed stays low. Some of the most specific extra connections extend Cane Slash down to Plow ground, find a way to work it through some of the undeveloped area now through the farms. And these are alternatives we can extend through Sea Island Estates and make other connections. So those are detailed alignments that we're studying. This is one of the very interesting sections. We looked at the past traffic records at Bohicket and Edenvale, and there were several crashes where the streets come together at a low angle. And so they just cut it off. Say, well, okay, we'll just make a simple solution there. And the problem is that moves the traffic to other intersections and doesn't really solve the problem. So we're proposing a roundabout there to allow safe connection of that wishbone kind of street pattern, and make that work safely and well, and give more fluid interconnection with the different parts of the island again. So a variety of paths is a good way to solve congestion. This this neighborhood area where so many people have homes on the river and then on the farm side, on the opposite side of Bohicket, uh, they had vehicles speeding through at 50 and 55 miles an hour when people were out there getting the mail out of their post boxes that are right on the street. And there were even people trying to pass on that stretch where there would likely be some pedestrian activity. So we were knocking the speed down to 35 miles an hour, and we put some caution, neighborhood, no passing, and just give it a clear treatment of neighborhood scale, but managing the traffic to take the speed down. When where river meets Betsy, Kerrison, and Bohicket, there's a traffic signal now. The traffic signal is doing okay there, but we would encourage again another roundabout to slow you down and speed you up at the same time, and give a safer situation to prevent the high-speed crashes that may occur there. And for the rest of the island, we have a long list of other improvements outside the specific corridor, including the pitchfork, figuring a way to go forward with the pitchfork, and begin to solve these problems on a customized basis instead of just the long 4-lane highway that blasts across the island. So we feel like our holistic solution to the safety and the mobility is much more effective, and it's going to leave the island in much more of a condition that shows that everyone respects the tradition and the classic nature of the island and the beautiful oak trees.
Thank you, Rick. That was great. It's really nice to see how this has come together. And I know it's been a lot of work and it's taken a lot of meetings and sifting through a lot of data, including what Norm pulled together prior to you really conceptualizing, visually how this connects, how we use that data. So thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
I don't know if anyone on the Zoom has any questions. But I will say we still have quite a bit of work to do. This is very much a collaborative process. We have more county council members to meet. We have more meetings scheduled with county staff to continue to review their data, some of which Rick alluded to on his call, making sure our numbers and their numbers are pulling from the same metrics and we're apples to apples on a lot of the sort of the future growth of the island and how that will unfold. So there are a lot of pieces to this, and we really wanted to use this time to have Rick share what we have accomplished to date, and also pass along that we still have more work to do, but we feel like we're making good progress. We're having good meetings. And it's really important to continue to get community members and neighbors engaged in this process. So,
Kate, if I may, one very interesting point of the traffic forecasting is the county has forecasted a 70% growth in traffic between now and 2045, and that's on the stretch that comes from the two islands. Seabrook and Pkwy, coming up Betsy, Kerrison, and up toward Angel Oak. That would require either 70% more houses be built, or Pkwy and Seabrook would allow 70% more tourists to come look around, or there's just really no logical explanation. Kiowa and Seabrook are built out. The way to get a new house in Kiowa or Seabrook is to buy a lot, tear the house down, and build your own new house. So that's the position where they are. So there's
Right.
no logical explanation for the pretty fantastic growth that's been forecasted by the county.
Mhm. And that's why we're so grateful to have had the funds to have you, Rick, and have Norm to really look at the numbers and question some of the information we're given. I mean, I think that's really holistically what we want to do at Rational Roads. Make sure we're all looking at the correct data so that we can make really informed decisions, because roads cannot be undone. Let's do them correctly the first time around. It's really tough to go back and correct them later. And so it's really nice to have your experience. And part of what Rational Roads has been working on too is really getting out into the neighborhood. We've built up our neighborhood advocate group. We're trying to really get street level. That's how we got the information about people feeling like they're going to get sideswiped getting the mail out of their mailbox, and how we've come to call Mary Ann and Maine, that curve right there, dead man's curve. I think that was Abe that called it that. So we're really learning more and more how our community interacts with the roads, and that's also a big part of the data that we're looking at. A lot of that came through the surveys, which is really helpful, and that survey is still online at Rational Roads, our website, rationalroads.org. So still encouraging people to reach out and ask questions that way, as we continue to move forward and work on Alternative 6 and present it as a viable option. We're getting close, I think, to having something to share. And then we will, of course, ask for more community feedback on that. It's not going to be, all the I's, dotted and T's crossed. We will engage the community around our alternative, which is important. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to say, Rick. I do have one comment from someone that submitted that I'll share. If anyone has any questions or anything else to add. In the meantime, I want to make sure everyone's been able to speak.
I'd love to jump in, Kate.
Okay.
This is Jason Crowley from the Coastal Conservation League, and it's been really exciting to see the community come out and really engage around this project. A year ago, when the county first presented its first set of 5 alternatives, there was a lot of concern that the Conservation League was hearing from residents of Johns Island that this was going to divide the island further, and that people on River Road would be forced to speak against people on Bohicket, and everyone was going to be pulled apart to try and come up with the least bad option. And instead, what I witnessed was islanders coming together. The fact that dozens of residents of Johns Island organized themselves to create this group, Rational Roads for Johns Island, and have already raised funds. I think it's excess of $30,000 to do this work up to this point, to bring these experts to Charleston to study the problems and come up with solutions that everyone can rally around, that is beneficial to the island and is contextually sensitive to the ecology and the cultural resources, is really exciting. And it's coming at a time that on the opposite side of Charleston County, in the East Cooper area, Charleston County did a very major change to their original plan for the Highway 41 project. And that was a result of community engagement and activism and advocacy. When Charleston County first proposed to widen Highway 41 in East Cooper to 5 lanes through the historic Phillips community, it took thousands of people coming together to try and change that alternative. But that was years after pushing one project. And what Johns Island is doing, that I recognize and want to make sure gets out today, is you're not coming together at the 11th hour. You are coming together at the very beginning of this process to bring small dollars and large dollar donations to come up with a solution that is data driven and results oriented, that preserves the culture and identity and way of life on Johns Island, but still benefits everyone and is really safety focused. And it's really wonderful to see this. And I know that there's still a lot of work to do to be able to get this through the finish line. And I hope that residents continue to support Rational Roads for Johns Island, because this is a resident grassroots organized process. And it's not something that is a top down, but absolutely a bottom up. And I hope that this can be a model for other communities. And the Conservation League is looking at Johns Island in this instance right now as a model to promote to other places. And I think that we have the ability to tap into that momentum, to particularly from what happened just last night of getting a unanimous council vote on a new alternative for Highway 41, to be able to get something similar. So I hope that here on Johns Island, and I hope that residents do keep supporting Rational Roads and help to keep Rick and Norm engaged on this process, because this isn't cheap, and they work across the country, and it's important to see this project through to the finish line. And I just want to congratulate everyone who has participated so far, because this is good stuff, and we wouldn't have these ideas to even be talking about today had it not been for the residents who came together.
Thanks for that, Jason, and thanks for providing support for us at the league. It's really been helpful to have that infrastructure and y'all's knowledge and wherewithal to really support us. The grassroots movement is not easy, but we have, like you said, a lot of dedicated neighbors and community members, and they are very engaged around this issue. And I too have been inspired by how it really galvanized the community to come together versus splitting it apart. We know that roads have a history of being kind of a divisive topic, but we have really been pretty explicit at Rational Roads to speak and communicate and collaborate in a way that is very inclusive of everybody, because we think that this impacts everybody, and trying to operate in a way that is full of integrity and sort of concern for our neighbors and our island. So thanks for those words. I'm really impressed with what we've done, but yes, we do have a lot more to do. So want people to continue to support Rational Roads, to stay engaged and involved. I thought I'd close today on a recent comment that we got that makes me feel proud, from someone from the community. They say, "Thank you for bringing together the citizens of Johns Island in respect to our roadways and traffic plans. This is very much needed. We have much to think over. 17 and Main Road, all the segments and plans for Main Road and Bohicket, the roundabout at River and Chisolm, the redesign of Maybank itself, the north and south pitchforks as they intersect at River Road, the ingress egress of 526 under River Road, the sitting of the new elementary school on River, and the Brownswood intersection. As we talk about Rational Roads, all of these need to be considered at the same time with lots of exclamation points, not just in segments. I fear that all of the entities making decisions about our beloved Johns Island have failed to see the big picture. They are just interested in their own little part of this and are not focused on how all these needs fit together. It matters greatly. Yes, it does for all of us. Please lead us into seeing the big picture." Yay. That's why we have Rick.
Y'all, Kate, can I make just a point, or make a
Absolutely.
observation or something?
Absolutely.
One, this is brilliant. Rick, this is probably the best work you've ever done. I think it's absolutely fabulous. And it answers questions, it solves problems, it's practical, it's less expensive. And it's just brilliant and inspiring. And I think that Johns Island people need to understand that it is literally a question of not allowing defeat to be snatched from the jaws of victory, because Johns Island is fantastic. It has all the bone structure. It's got the rural areas, the zoning. It's got maybe over time more protected land. It has a very nice commercial corridor with a bunch of indigenous uses along the corridor, and all that stands in the way of success is our unwillingness to promote this kind of solution. So I'm happy to, by the way, on the money thing, that's a piece of cake, and I'm happy to help raise it. And I've thought of a few people happy to talk to. I'll just talk to y'all later on that. But I just wanted to say that the years ago when Paul Thurman was on the council, you know, we were arguing about this exact thing. It was over a decade ago, and he said, "Oh, well, the horse is already out of the barn on Johns Island." And I said, "Paul, the horse is not only, he might be out of the barn, he's in the pasture, and that's all over Johns Island. You see it when you drive past the urban boundary. We have an urban boundary, uniquely almost in the Southeast. We have an urban boundary.
Yeah.
We've got the potential for a very well-connected grid of streets along the Maybank corridor and all the stuff y'all have shown. So it literally is just a matter of deploying public resources in the right direction and conveying this vision. And obviously, the more you can go and meet with people and give this presentation, the more you're going to build a strong cadre of supporters. So let me know what I can do to help. And mainly I can help raise money. That's the main thing I can do.
Dana, thank you for your comments. Kate, I want to highlight the fact that we're getting assistance on this analysis, high quality assistance from Florida State University's Department of Urban and Regional Planning. We have Natalie Wilson working as an intern for us. And this is not just the routine intern. She is getting into the depth of these issues and is contributing significantly to the writing and the PowerPoint and everything else. So she's doing great research for us. And it's a mutually beneficial thing, I think, to help the students and help the community at the same time.
Thank you, Natalie.
So, thank you, Natalie.
Thank y'all for the experience.
All right, well, thank you, Dana, Rick, Natalie, Jason. I'm really encouraged by what's happened so far. And I definitely feel like we are making really good progress and bringing the community together in the process. So I look forward to continuing this journey and protecting Johns Island and making it possible to you know, have safe roads and have the trees and the ecology intact as well. I think it's a both and approach, and we're grateful for our neighbors and our donors and Natalie and Rick and Norm and Jason and Betsy and everyone who has provided support along the way. It's definitely a group effort. So please continue to join us in this effort. Reach out if you have any questions. Our website is rationalroads.org. Email is rationalroads@gmail.com. I'm Kate. You can always call me. If you don't have my number, you probably have it in an email from me somewhere. So feel free to reach out to us, and we'll continue to update you as we move forward with this project. Thanks for your time today, everybody.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.